What if I told you there's mortgage loan originators out there that are generating 3, 5, 7 leads a day just by live streaming 1 hour on TikTok? What if I told you you could fund at a minimum 4 loans per month, self-generated by you going live on TikTok? It's possible. And I know it's possible because today's special guest has been doing it for the past 2 going on 3 years. If you've ever thought about live streaming as a way to generate your own leads, then this episode, well, it's tailor-made just for you. Check this out. They don't teach this shit in school, but they should. Welcome to the Loan Officer Podcast, hosted by me, Dustin Owen, one of the most influential people in the mortgage industry, along with my friends who've lived it, built it, failed at it, fixed it, and scaled it. This is not a show just for mortgage professionals. This is everything I learned because I became a mortgage loan originator. This is the Loan Officer Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children 18 plus, you are tuned in to the Loan Officer Podcast with me, Dustin Owen, and a very special guest. This dude is born and raised in San Diego, California. Today, he calls St. Augustine, Florida, home. He is a dad of 3. He is an ex-water polo player. He is all over TikTok. He works for Barrett Financial. He is the one, the only Luke, don't call me Sky Walker. Luke Walker, welcome to T-Lop.
I appreciate that. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, I mean, how often do you get Skywalker? Or do you not?
I absolutely do. So much so that it's my license plate, actually. My vanity plate says Skywalker.
Oh, That's amazing. Yeah, out of curiosity, were your parents Star Wars fans, or was it just one of those coincidental things that happened to happen?
I think they pulled the name originally from the Bible. I think that's what they claim, and then all of a sudden they realized,
Luke, John, Matthew,
exactly,
yeah, all those.
And all of a sudden they recognized,
Joe's my favorite one, by the way.
Absolutely, that's a great one.
But okay, but it's a biblical name, obviously.
Correct.
Walker just happens to be your surname.
Correct, and then they just set me up for a life of Star Wars success in that regard. So literally every time I meet somebody new, it's always, hey, is your middle name Sky? Yeah. Always, literally without fail.
It's almost like a dad joke at this standpoint, right?
Exactly.
Which I'm the king of dad jokes, so I don't even feel embarrassed that I threw in there, don't call me Sky Walker.
I love that. That was a great intro. I love that.
Yeah, 10 out of 10. You can use it on TikTok now.
It's a great way.
Yeah, so I'm excited for this episode. Can I share with the audience how you and I actually met?
Please, absolutely.
Okay, totally random, funny story, right? So random, funny story is, and most people know this at this standpoint, that I am a wannabe triathlete, right? Like for the past 5-6 years, I exercise by biking, running, and swimming. And when you start doing that pretty consistently, you're like, well, maybe I should go do a race. And I started doing races. And the races that I chose were Ironman 70.3, right? So you and I know this because you've done them as well. But it's a 70.3 mile race. It's a 1.2 mile swim, a 56 mile bike, and then it's a 13.1 mile run. And if you really want to step up to the big leagues and become a true Ironman, imagine doing double that, right? And that's what I'm getting ready to train for. I'm training for a full Ironman in Portugal in October. But I realized the bike I've been using for the past 5 years, great bike. It's great for distances no greater than 70.3 miles. But if I had to bike 112 miles, I wanted to be on something a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more aerodynamic. And me being me, I didn't want to buy it brand new. So I was like, well, let's go on Facebook Marketplace. Well, long story short, you have a bike for sale, right?
Correct.
You have a bike for sale. I've been looking for about 6-7 months. Yes, 6-7. I just did that. Not on purpose, though. But it was like 6 or 7 months. And the bike that stood out was your bike. I ended up reaching out to him. We negotiated a price. He drives it to my home because we live about 2 hours apart. And he goes, are you in the mortgage industry? I'm like, I am. He's like, so am I. And we hit it off, right? Like we hit it off. So it's interesting how the universe works and how they put us together. But one thing that stood out to me from that conversation was getting to know you and how you source your business. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And that's what I want the audience to get to know, both you, your story, but more specifically how you source your business. But we're going to take a quick pause, so we can hear from today's show sponsor, then we'll be right back. Check this out.
TLOP Unite is not your typical mortgage event. This is the first ever TLOP cruise experience built exclusively for originators. And for 4 days, it's not about the speakers, it's about you. We're talking breakout strategy sessions, real conversations, curated events, and uninterrupted access to a community that helps you grow. If you're serious about taking your career to the next level, this is where you need to be. Space is limited and the price is right. So click the link now and learn more.
All right, Luke. So where to start? Let's start with your story, right? So I said in the intro, you're originally from San Diego. I know that you went to school in Utah, and then you and your wife moved to Nashville, where you were an accountant and she was a nurse, and baby number one was on the way. Yet somehow you made it into the mortgage industry. Walk me through that. Walk the audience through that.
Absolutely. No, thank you so much. So with that, I originally started in the accounting industry because I had gotten my degree in accounting. As we all know, you get a job in the degree that you graduate in, right? And so moving to Nashville, I got a job with HCA, one of the biggest hospital companies in the country, as a staff one accountant. And it was great. My wife was working as a nurse at the time for the local Williamson County hospital. And it was a great, great setup. Like, we loved it. It was phenomenal. We had our first baby. He was just born right before we had moved to Nashville. And as time went on, though, obviously going into the office every single day was great. Loved my coworkers. It was awesome. Well, 9 months in, COVID hits. And now I'm at home doing healthcare accounting in my home office. And I remember telling my wife, I'm like, this is the most life-sucking thing I've ever done in my life. I'm miserable. This is terrible. Well, fast forward, and I had met through church connections a buddy who was in the mortgage industry. And he basically told me, hey, look, this is the job. If you want it, it's yours. Just go get licensed. And so
Who's that guy? Can we give him a shout out?
Yeah, Jared Robbins. And he is a phenomenal individual. Absolutely love working with him, and everything about him and his family. They're absolutely phenomenal. And he's a massive producer, most humble guy about it in the world. And so, yeah, massive shout out to Jared if you ever have a chance to talk to him.
Yeah, so
absolutely.
So you, like most of us, did not go to school to become a mortgage professional.
Absolutely.
Went to school to be an accountant. COVID hits. You're like, this is boring. This is really boring. There has to be something better out there. I think also you're telling me off camera, the income potential as a staff one accountant, staff two, later staff three, wasn't as robust as maybe someone like yourself would be looking for. And you found the mortgage industry through someone at church, which, anyone who tunes into the show, like I'll tell them that the career opportunity you want won't be found on LinkedIn 99 times out of 100. It's going to be through someone or someone that you know and who they know. So yeah, you're going to church, you're worshiping, you're creating community. Through that community, you meet Jared, who not only introduces you to the industry, but also becomes a mentor. Absolutely. So you kind of got a 2 for 1. You got an intro or a foot in the door, but then you also got a built-in mentor.
Absolutely.
Cool. And when you were working in your first career opportunity, were you working in a place where leads were provided to you, or were you self-gen?
So they were all provided.
Okay.
Right. And so that was obviously a fantastic setup, because obviously I know in all those Facebook groups and things like that, you always see those loan officers saying, hey, I'm looking for a new job. Do they provide leads? Like, where can I go to find leads? Right. And so being able to be in that position where obviously I was being fed leads was fantastic. But obviously, again, in the entrepreneurial side of me, I was like, well, I quickly figured out I'm going to make half that what I could have if I was self-sourced. Right. And so figuring that out and recognizing, okay, if I go out and find my own business, that's where really things can really change for me. And so that's kind of what led to that next progression there.
All right. So how did you find your own business? Did you do the traditional, hey, I'm going to call on realtors, builders, financial advisors, or did you go a different route?
No, that's a great question. And actually, to this day, I still have never actually gone to a realtor's office or left my house for this business. I know it's kind of a hot take.
You are the anomaly. The Malcolm Gladwell should 100% put you in his next book, Outliers. But I love that for you, because I think you show us all what's possible through the stories that you're going to share with us. So I didn't know that about you. You've never once...
I've never stepped into a realtor's office, actually.
Man, off camera, I'd like to talk to you more about that, because I think there is a missed opportunity.
Oh, I recognize that 100%, right?
Okay. Well, and because you're at a point now where you would never have to cold call.
Right.
Like, you will never have to cold call, and you could diversify your business, generate more leads, fund more units, close more volume, make more money.
For sure.
Okay, so
Yes.
you recognize that.
Yeah,
That's
a conversation that my assistant and I are often having, right? So we recognize that's coming, and that's part of all of this, right?
Okay.
But
so then how have you never left your house? Because you're funding what, 50, 60 transactions a year pretty consistently?
Yeah, last year we hit over 80.
You did 80.
Yeah.
Okay. And did they all go under your name and your NMLS?
Yeah, like 99% of them.
How many different states are you in?
As of right now, I'm in 20.
Okay, so you're in 20 different states. You started in the industry working for a company that provided you leads.
Correct.
But you quickly realized if you want to make more money, you should generate your own leads.
Correct.
Okay, so then how did you generate your own leads?
Absolutely. So I went to my marketing team originally because, they say, hey, look, if you're trying to grow your business, go talk to marketing, right? So I went and talked to them, and I was like, all right, well, if I can just get an additional 40 leads a month, right? Hopefully that would equate to at least 2 more deals in the month.
Yeah.
That could be a really big game changer for me. And I remember going to them and talking to them about that and asking, okay, how much would that cost? And they're like, well, it'd probably be about $1,000 for 40 more leads. And I was like, I'm still a fresh hello. And I'm like, that sounds very expensive. No, thank you, right? And that's when they were like, well, actually, you should look into something that nobody really has as of yet because it was still so new, and that was TikTok.
And what year is this?
This is 2021.
Okay, so 2021, you go to your marketing department. They're like, hey, dude, it's going to be $1,000, but we'll give you 40 leads. Because these are consumer direct leads, for those that don't know, they do convert at a much lower percentage than when you generate a lead from a past client, a real estate agent, a CPA, a financial advisor. So where I coach, you should be funding 15 to 20% of all leads should turn into funded loans. In that world, I'm guessing it's probably closer to 3 to 6%.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're doing the math. You're like, okay, $1,000, 40 leads. If I'm good, I get 2 closings.
Correct.
Yep. And at the end of the day, even if you're making 100 basis points and your average loan size was 250 and not 350, you still would have the opportunity to turn 1K into 5K. So you'd be getting a 5X, but you're also a young originator, a new dad.
Right.
Was your wife still working, or had she had she decided to stay home?
So she was still working.
She was still working. Okay.
Correct.
So you had a little bit of that.
Exactly. And I didn't
security.
have the know-how at that time to be able to work those numbers out in my head and think like, oh yeah, that would make sense if I could convert them, right?
Yeah.
But all the while, that's
no. You're looking at it as I'm going to spend $3,000 and potentially get 0 in return.
Exactly.
It's either that or diapers. Like I've been there, right? I've lived
Absolutely.
it. My old business partner Mike Smalley tells the best story of literally us being brand new at starting our company together, and he had a $5 bill in his pocket, and he stopped by the Dollar Tree to get formula. And he's wearing gym shorts. Anyone who's wearing gym shorts when they're baggy, that $5 can easily fall out. And he was like, oh my God. Like that was his last $5. He has to get formula before he gets home. And we weren't getting commissions for another 5 days.
Right.
So yeah, you were living that lifestyle.
Yeah,
so it made perfect sense. So then what did marketing tell you to do?
Yeah. So then they introduced me to TikTok. And, I've always said it pays to be first, right? And so going into that and talking with them about TikTok, they were very supportive. They're like, yeah, let's do this. Let's try it out. And so I quickly jumped on that bandwagon. I was like, all right, let me start making some videos.
So you're not going TikTok live. There's no live streaming at this standpoint.
Correct.
You're literally just doing TikTok videos.
Correct. All things VA loans.
All things VA loans. It's people like you. It's for us, Coach Rebecca Richardson. It's Jordan Nutter at NFM.
Right.
I think there's another guy that that was also doing it. I can't remember his name. He and I haven't had a chance to meet in person. And had you already been on TikTok? Are you still using the Luke Walker TikTok handle, or did you start your own TikTok handle just for this marketing channel?
So I came in strictly for business, right?
Okay.
And so I started as VA Loans with Luke. That's still my handle even to this day. And so.
But were you already on TikTok?
I had dabbled probably with a personal account to that point. I made a couple videos about how I'm much shorter than my brothers, things like that, right? But
you are. So he's 6'2", but how tall are your brothers?
Older brother's 6'7", little brother's 6'8".
Wow.
So I'm the runt of the family. That's the ongoing joke in the family, at least.
Which is why you did water polo and they did volleyball.
Exactly.
All right. So you're not really on TikTok, and I like this because for the audience, it's like, oh, I'm not on TikTok. It's like, yeah, but neither was Luke. Right?
Absolutely.
You kind of were, but you really weren't. Or we're going to get this question. I already have a TikTok account. I already have 3,000 or 5,000 or 10,000 followers. Do I need to create a new TikTok account? Or do I just lean into the TikTok account I already have? You can answer that one maybe later in the episode. We'll
Absolutely.
tease it a little bit because
Absolutely.
at the end of the day, like we're going to talk about Luke's story, but we're also going to talk about what Luke is doing now and how you can do it too. Right? That's what I want the audience to get out of this, is how you can do it too. But I first want you to get to know Luke, because if you're ever going to try to be like Luke, you should know where he came from. Or if you're ever going to want to learn from Luke or work with Luke, like you should know his backstory. No different than before you hire a coach, you should know their backstory. Before you get excited about a speaker on a stage, you should know their backstory. Look, if you're anything like me, I really don't want to take health advice from an obese person. Right? I don't want to take business advice from somebody who hasn't already been there, done that. And not only do they have the war wounds and the scars, but they also have the bank account that goes along with the financial success that comes with whatever it is they're talking about or teaching. So you start 2021 just making TikTok videos. 1 a day, 3 a day? What did that look like?
Yeah, anywhere from 1 to 3 a day was the average. I try to do it at least 5 days a week. Just try to stay consistent with it. And as time went on, it gradually and organically grew. Right, I would get a lot of comments about, hey, this guy has a baby face. What is he doing talking to us about mortgages, right? But you push through that and you just keep going. And yeah, as time went on, it gradually just naturally and organically just grew. The following just grew. Was
your content primarily all VA home loans, or did you mix in wife, kids, beach, fishing?
No, great question. My wife and kids have never been in a video.
Okay.
I've literally kept it strictly business since its inception.
So 5 days a week, you're 12 to 15 videos on TikTok, and it's all VA home loans by Luke.
Correct.
Okay. Very cool. How long did you do that for?
I'm still doing it, actually.
You're still doing it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But as time went on, just a little bit of a progression there. That first end of year, that's the December of 21 was my first TikTok video. All into the next year, I just kept it going. And by the end of 2022, TikTok had made up 90% of my business. And so...
when did you start getting your first leads on TikTok?
It was probably within the first couple months, actually.
And the people do they comment or do they DM you?
Yeah, all the above. So they'd comment on my videos, because I'd always have that call to action, right? Hey, drop a comment, let me know. They'd shoot me DMs. I would very clearly put where they could go and find my calendar link so they could book a call with me. And that's how a lot of conversion actually happened, was just like that link in my bio of, here's my Calendly link, essentially, and they could just go book a call with me and then get on my calendar.
And those calls were 15, 20-minute discovery calls?
Correct.
Okay. And then from there, you would have to triage the situation, figure out, do we need to spend more time, or were you able to answer the question? And right now, it's a no for me, dog, but do these 5 things and check back with me in 6 months.
Absolutely. And that's the majority of how those phone calls originally go, just because, again, people are discovering and trying to find answers for their situation. And so one of my buzzwords is game plan, right?
Okay,
so we'll hop on a call and we'll figure out a game plan for you, because, especially in the VA world, and I specialize in manual underwritten VA loans, a lot of times you have to be able to show the clean 12 months of history, making sure there's no late payments, new collections, charge-offs in the last 12 months without really caring what the credit scores are, right? So oftentimes people have those derogatory marks on there. And so it's like, all right, let's establish that game plan again. So that way in 6 months, 8 months, whatever it is, we can get reconnected and then move forward from there.
So in 2022, if we were to go back and redder you or MMI you or model match you, do you remember roughly what were units and volumes like for you?
I think I hit 15 million that year.
15 million in volume?
Yeah.
90% from TikTok?
Correct.
Wow. Are people finding, now that we're in 2026, are they finding equal success, or is the market a little bit saturated when it comes to just putting out TikTok content, developing a following, and then turning that following into leads?
That's a great question, and also a loaded question, because I think what it ultimately comes down to is consistency, right? Because a lot of people, what they do is they do put out videos, right? And this is something that Bill and I'll talk about Bill here in a second, but that's something that we talk about a lot when we talk about live streaming. And obviously, I know we're also teasing this a lot, which I love. To that point, when we talk about a TikTok video, it really is like pulling the slot machine, right? You put out a video and your next 10 videos can hit 300 views, and you drop another one and it's going to hit 20,000 views. And you're like, wow, I feel as high as a kite, right? Maybe got a couple leads from that. Next few, 300 views again, right? So it's not consistent in the sense of you can predict the next steps, right? And that's, again, why live streaming is so clutch, and we'll get to that. But all that to say, it's just the posting side can absolutely be effective, and it is, if you're consistent and your algorithms are trained and you do everything that you need to do. But again, it is a lottery, and it's not always guaranteed.
Okay. So then let's jump into live streaming, because that's really what I'm excited about. And,
Absolutely.
And for the people who follow us pretty religiously, you know that we have our big event coming up in September. It's like our first ever TLOP sponsored event. We're doing something unlike the industry's ever seen, because we have 150 plus mortgage professionals going on a cruise to the Caribbean September 14th through 18th. I'm trying to get Luke and his partner Bill on this cruise, and I want them on the main stage when we do our sales summit at sea, teaching live streaming on TikTok to generate leads, right? So that's something I'm working on. Maybe you all can help me work on it by dropping comments. If you think that Luke and Bill should be on the TLOP Unite event, comment below. Maybe that'll be the encouragement that they need to hop on the ship.
Loan officers, if 2026 is going to be your breakout year, this matters. Most originators don't struggle because of rates. They struggle because they don't have systems, structure, or accountability. I'm Coach Christy with TLOP's Originator Coaching. Originator Launch is a 16-week small group coaching program designed to help you build a real business, not just close the next loan. You'll get weekly live coaching, proven scripts used by top producers, real accountability, homework that actually moves the needle, and 2 private one-on-one calls with your coach. This program is capped at just 10 originators, so the attention is personal and the results are real. This isn't a course you watch, it's coaching you execute. If you're ready to stop guessing and start building with intention, apply now. Spots are limited, and once they're gone, enrollment closes. Register today.
But I want to jump into it because obviously I think we got to a good background of where you started, how you got into TikTok. You didn't jump in live or live streaming right away. But by 2022, because you're willing to do 2 to 3 videos a day, every single day, because you also, and my partner Mike teaches this, you niche down. Right? Like, I'm not a fan of people niching in general. Right? In general, I believe, no, there's 5 products that we need to originate: conventional loans, FHA loans, VA loans, standard jumbo, and then you pick your poison for your 5th one, whether you want it to be DSCR, bank statement, some kind of a down payment assistance. Because for most of us, we're building our businesses by being a community expert, source of information, and we're building it off of the backs of referral partners. At which point, you gotta be where the bulk of the business is. But I have learned when it comes to marketing and advertising, when you niche, the algorithm does a way better job of feeding people to you, right? So you niched into VA, and it worked really, really well for you. And I've also learned from my CMO, Mike, that for whatever reason, VA home loans is like the easiest thing to niche into when it comes to Meta. Like, and I'm assuming for TikTok as well. But when it comes to Meta, so you niched, which I think is great for TikTok, because it then only showed your videos to active duty or qualified veterans who were looking for home loans. Don't know how I got on that tangent or that that rabbit hole. I don't think I'm looking to go there, because what I was getting at is 2022 you do your 15 million, 2023. I'm guessing you probably do 20 plus million.
Each year it's gone up. Right?
Okay.
So,
but eventually you get into live, and that's what we're talking about. That's what I want to have you on the cruise talking about. When did you get into live?
Yeah. So funny story there, actually.
Okay.
So, fast forward, of course, as the years go on, I'm continuing to put out the videos, continuing to just keep at it in that regard. But what ultimately came down to is I discovered this new aspect of TikTok called TikTok Shop, like TikTok Shop affiliate, right?
Okay, what year is this?
This is 2024.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So just a year and a half ago.
Yeah, a couple years ago. So it was probably spring 24 where I started learning about this, and I was like, well, I need to create a different account so I can get involved in this, right? And
like
so,
a side hustle.
Exactly.
Because
it was a side
TikTok
hustle.
Shop is not for mortgages.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. So I was like, all right, well, let me grow up my following. Let me get accepted into this TikTok Shop thing, and let me just try to see if I can get some affiliate, commissions and things like that.
And how big does your following have to be to do TikTok Shop?
I think you need to have at least 1,000 followers.
Okay.
And then 5,000 for like full access.
Okay.
But that's so it's a wild time. Anyway, in that regard, I I decided, you know what, let me just start trying to get some of these deals and such. And so companies are sending me products. And then what I would do is just make a video about that product. But then I quickly discovered, I was like, well, maybe I should go live for this. And so I had these, 4-in-1 iPhone chargers where it had like 4 different connections, but it's one cord, right?
Okay.
And I was like, let me go live with this. Let me see how I do. And as I started doing that, doing 60, 90 minutes a day, I was like, dang, I'm doing at least $300 in sales with these iPhone chargers. I'm like, this is pretty legit. But my commissions are like $30, right? So I'm like, this is exciting. I'm selling. This is fun. But I'm like, if I can do this for an iPhone charger, surely I can do this for a mortgage.
There we go. That's your aha moment.
That was the aha moment.
So you were already on TikTok, just doing your traditional TikTok videos.
Correct.
Having success. Because you're playing in that sandbox,
right?
You start noticing, wait a minute, TikTok's rolling out this new feature called TikTok Shop. How could I dabble, because you're an entrepreneur at heart, right? You're, like most of us, you're a hustler, right? You got some game. And you're having fun making $30 an hour
it was
selling iPhone chargers. But then you're like, wait a minute, you make way more than that doing mortgages.
Exactly.
So it's like, how can I leverage TikTok Shop, but for mortgages? And what you learned is TikTok Live.
Absolutely.
Right. So you went TikTok Live starting in 2024.
Correct.
Okay. How did that revolutionize what you were doing? Like, what does that look like today for you?
Now, I love that word specifically because we use that often when it comes to TikTok Live. Revolutionary. Yep. Okay. So when we're talking about what the future of the industry looks like, right? This whole idea is revolutionary, right? And that's my new buzzword with TikTok Live, right? And we can dive into that further. But what that ultimately transpired into was, again, recognizing I can do this for an iPhone charger. I should be able to do this for a mortgage. And I remember those first few days when I started doing a live stream on my VA loan account and just talking about VA loans, just hitting that go live button and just answering questions, Q&A session, right? I had set up a lead form within TikTok and I was starting to get leads. I remember one of those first few days I came out to my wife afterwards and I was like, Jillian, I just hit 26 leads in an hour doing a TikTok Live. I'm like, I remember feeling a tangible shift in the universe in that moment, being like, this is different, right? This is wild, right? Obviously TikTok videos had worked up to that point, but this was something new, something different, right? And I just kept up with it. I just kept going, right? And that's where my business really took, that snowball effect and just took off, because I was like, let me stay consistent with live streaming and let's see what this can do.
So are you still doing your TikTok videos?
I do.
You do? I do. Is it still 2 to 3 a day, or have you pared it down to 1 a day?
Yeah, it's either 1 a day or 1 every few days, actually. But
how often do you go live?
Every day.
Every day?
Yeah, Monday through Friday. So it varies. I'll usually do at least a half an hour one in the morning, another half an hour in the afternoon.
Oh, so you're not even doing an hour at one time?
So everyone finds what works best for them, right? Obviously, we coach to the fact that an hour-long live stream is very beneficial. For me, again, everyone's unique in that regard, right? I've found that the most productive for myself is like a 30-minute to an hour, right? So it just depends on the day and my availability between other calls and other things, right? But obviously making sure that gets done every single day to always be prospecting.
Yeah, I'm gonna take you to lunch and pick your brain. I would love to go live at least twice a week. Like I'm thinking Mondays and Thursdays. It's interesting. I do this live thing for this group called MLO Study Buddy. It's my buddy Rocky. He helps literally thousands of loan originators study for and pass the NMLS every single year.
Awesome.
And one Monday a night for the past 2 years, one Monday a night, it doesn't even make sense. One Monday night a month.
Yes.
From about 8 p.m. to typically 10 p.m., I hop on. It is the most fun thing I do every month. And it's just spending time with people who are trying to get licensed or newly licensed. And I just answer questions. It's me off the cuff. It's me at my best. I have so much fun that when I try to go to bed, we were talking about doing triathlons like earlier, right? You've done a couple of races?
One race, yeah.
You've done one race, right? You remember what it's like to train for those things.
100%.
And you're in bed early. You're up early. What's Monday? I got to get up at freaking 5 a.m. I can't sleep. And I can't sleep because I'm not worried about stuff. I'm so excited. My adrenaline is like through the roof because I just spent 2 hours with 50, 60, either like current mortgage professionals or soon to be, just giving back. So knowing that feeling, I've always thought, man, if I could take that live, whether it's Instagram Live, Facebook Live, but now you have me convinced I need to take it TikTok Live. So I'm going to have to pick your brain about that at lunch. But you started going live an hour a day.
Correct.
Some days it's 30 minutes here, 30 minutes there. Other days it's an hour, and you do it 4 or 5 days a week?
5 days a week.
5 days a week. And are you always generating 26 leads a day, or is that like the first time and it's actually pared down? Like, what does that look like on the daily for you?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, those were the first few lives, obviously, when I'm like, wow, this influx is crazy. You know, it's new, and obviously TikTok is always changing, right? So that's a big thing about being on TikTok, is being able to roll with the punches that it rolls out and deals. With that, obviously, we're expecting, and I'm expecting at least 3 to 5 plus leads per session per hour.
How many people are getting on? Like, are you having 100, 200, 300 people get on?
See, that's a fantastic question, because if you were to hop on my live, you would be very underwhelmed. And I know that's underwhelmed, because you would see when I'm on a live, I have 5, 10, maybe up to 15 people in the room at a time on a TikTok live.
But they're coming and going.
They're coming and going. So it's a revolving door. So in that time frame, you can be pulling 100, 200, 300 plus, up to 1,000 plus people coming through your room.
But they're not all there at the same time.
Exactly. So it's a revolving door.
Okay.
Right. So as the way that I like to present it is, I used to run a protein bar business and work the farmer's market, right? People are walking through, they come by, hey, you want a sample? Sure, pop it, buy it. They're on their way, right? It's the same thing with the TikTok live, right? Because it's a revolving door policy. And that's where a lot of people also get hung up. They're like, how can I do an hour-long live stream? I don't have that much material. And it's very simple in the sense of like, look, you just break it down into little micro sessions, because every time that you repeat yourself, there's going to be somebody else new in the room, right? So when it comes to conversion, and that's my biggest thing with all of this when we coach and train to, TikTok live for loan officers, is conversion. Is how do you convert that person, first off, to get them to stick in your live, right? Next, for them to want to feel comfortable enough to answer or ask a question that you can then provide them an answer for, right? There are several TikTok lives that we see that people are dropping questions and comments and they just get completely ignored, right? Because of the number of people in the room or whatever it is. So we really coach to the fact that, like, look, if you're getting questions, make sure you're addressing every single one, right? Because that's a real person that wants answers, right? And the other thing about TikTok, and I know I'm just, I get very excited about this because it's so awesome, right? Is the sense that you're developing a sense of trust with an individual in a way that no other business model really can, right? If you look at realtor referrals, right? If your whole business and if you're self-sourced as a realtor partner relationship, if that realtor stops producing, what happens, right? Your business is gone. And then if you're sending out if you're doing cold calls or you're sending out mass mailers, people aren't opening their mailboxes, they're not answering their phones. And so how do you get to people, right? This provides you an opportunity to get in front of the customer in a way that they want to be reached. And so as they're scrolling TikTok and just dabbling because that's the dopamine rush they need for the day, and they come across your information and they see, oh wow, Luke's talking about VA loans, I can ask my question and get it answered in real time. That is powerful, right? Yeah. And that's where, again, that word revolutionary is you're now meeting the customer exactly where they want to be.
No, and I love what y'all are doing, because then I would pair that with what I coach, right? It's like, okay, you're going to get to the consumer first, which I've been talking about that for 5 years now on the show, that this wasn't when I got in the industry, but today it's like it's a race to the consumer.
Right.
You can get there first, build a relationship, and then you can match them with a real estate agent.
Absolutely.
And then you can leverage that goodwill to have the realtor want to sit down and talk to you about what a partnership looks like.
Exactly.
At which point you're getting a free audition. You're coming bearing gifts. Gifts is a potential home buyer.
Exactly, yeah.
And then at which point, if I do a great job for them, and they do a great job for the client, why shouldn't I continue to feed them? Why shouldn't they trust me with their referrals?
Exactly.
And then on top of that, what am I doing with that client now? Are you asking that client for 2 referrals? Are you, putting that client into your database, at which point you are creating a client for life relationship? Now you're not just doing their loan today, but you're doing the refi in 3 years, you're doing their daughter's loan, you're doing their best friend's loan, as long as you have the marketing strategy to go along with it. I mean, TikTok could be your foundation. It could be your base. It could be the catalyst.
Right.
That then allows you to have a 4, even a 5-pronged approach to now you're well diversified. You're not just doing VA loans, because you're doing VA loans based on your TikTok channel, but that has introduced you to real estate agents who are referring you other types of loans, or it's created a past client who you're generating referrals from, and they're not just referring you other active duty military or other veterans. So I freaking love the revolutionary aspect that you're on, because there are plenty of people tuning in right now that you can start doing this today. Like literally today, you should start doing it. But when they start doing it, let me ask you this. Like, you're a good looking dude. You speak well. Like, is there any concern? What if someone says, I don't like how I look. I don't like how I sound. What do you say to that person?
I mean, it's a great question. It's a valid concern. And that's what we often get with our students of like, hey, look, I'm older. I may be whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And they may not feel like as confident to even turn that camera on, right? And that's obviously, of course, something that we definitely coach towards, because the thing about TikTok is that it is a wide open place, right? You have every single walk of life. You know, you may think that it's just the place for teenagers, for dancing trends, and for, you know, whatever new trend is going around, right? Whatever viral activity there is. But when you really dive into it, you find that there literally is every single walk of life there. And what people want is value, right? And if you can provide them value and you can be that source of information that they can trust and value go much further than any physical appearance or, you know, way that you talk or the way that your voice sounds or anything like that, right? So being able to just brand yourself as you, right? We never want to change you. Now, obviously we can coach and tailor like, all right, this is how you can respond in this situation. Maybe wear a nicer outfit, be comfortable, right? But be you. That ultimately is going to go much further, and that authenticity and that brand of you is going to be what ultimately converts.
Yeah, I've stood on some of the biggest stages in our industry, and I've literally told an audience of thousands, that is how you look, mm-hmm. that is how you sound, and we love you for it.
Right.
There's enough people willing to do business the way that you do business that you don't have to do business with those that don't, meaning there's somebody for everybody. Mm-hmm. I mean, when I sold my book of business to my loan partner, Kevin, there were realtors who loved working with me. They didn't love working with Kevin. But you know what's really cool? There were realtors in my database that I had been calling on for decades, and I never got anything from them. Mm-hmm. Today, they're some of Kevin's best referral sources. I'm talking like he has married two of their, he's an ordained minister.
Okay.
He has married two of their children.
Wow.
Like, these are people I knew for 20 years that I closed maybe one transaction in 20 years. Kevin's closing 7 a year with them.
Right.
Which is just a reminder to everybody. Like, that is how you look. That is how you sound. Sure, Bill and Luke can coach you on, hey, maybe use this type of lighting, use this type of camera. Hey, maybe we should get your head centered a little bit better. Mm-hmm. Use these words. And, you know, like there's certain things that you can be coachable to. But don't worry about how you look and sound, because the right people are going to find it and be attracted to that. Just like the right people were attracted to me, the wrong people weren't. The right people were attracted to Kevin, the wrong people weren't. And those people weren't always the same. Exactly. So you're going to find that. You're going to find there's people who won't like you. That's okay. Right? Just like you don't like all people. But there will be people who see you and hear you and say, wait a minute, you remind me of me. You're somebody I would like to learn more from. And ultimately they'll be able to trust you. So when you hop on today, you're generating, you told me earlier, about 3 to 6 leads a day.
Correct.
And those 3 to 6 leads a day are turning into somewhere between 4 to 6 closings a month.
Correct. Yeah. Last year when I was, obviously, I mean, because we can dive into this more as far as what Bill and I are creating.
Yeah,
and
well,
doing,
that's
right?
what I'm getting to.
Yeah, for sure. As I was able to scale it, you know, I was hitting 9, 10 plus closings a month.
Okay.
Primarily purchase business.
Primarily purchase business, primarily VA.
Correct.
But, you know, your personal production has taken a little bit of a backseat because you have a much bigger plan to benefit the industry. You've partnered with this guy, Bill, right, that you met a year ago?
A year ago, correct.
Yep. Bill sought you out because he was building an influencer division, saw that you were pretty successful on your own, and he wanted to offer what you do to more people, right? At the end of the day. So you and Bill recently have joined Barrett Financial. Shout out to Barrett Financial. And you are building out their influencer division. Is that correct?
So, yeah, great question. So with that, yeah, Bill and I got connected like through different contacts. And ultimately what he was building was the first ever live stream division.
Live stream division. Okay, and I call it influencer division.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, I think my buddy Greg Scheer over at NFM has the influencer division. Yep. You all have the live stream division. Okay.
Correct. Yeah, so we got connected in that regard because Bill has extensive experience. And shout out to Bill Pace. Or
okay.
Pace on paper, right? But the Italian Sicilian way to say it is Pace, of course, right? Standing for peace.
Okay.
But no, Bill, I have to just give a massive shout out to Bill. He's been absolutely phenomenal to work with, and we've developed a phenomenal partnership over this last year, and it's been a ton of fun, right, with what we're doing and building. So that's what we were doing together at the previous place, was building out this live stream division. Ultimately, obviously, the direction didn't go as we had expected. And so in talking to Bill, him and I together were like, we have something here that is going to be the future, right? We need to take this somewhere that we can really hone this in and develop something. So that's where we ultimately ended with Barrett. And again, shout out to Barrett and Trevor and everybody over there. But we started to develop this live stream division, and they were very gracious and were like, look, we want the title, we want this division, we want to be able to build this out. And they gave us the green light and have allowed us to do that. And we actually just launched that just like 2 weeks ago. And so we've got our first cohort, and it's been a great time.
Yeah, so you're starting with Barrett Financial originators. And for those that raise their hand and they want to learn from you and Bill, they have that ability.
Correct.
Where you're going to teach them how they can go and live stream on TikTok, generate leads, and then more importantly, convert those leads into loans.
Absolutely.
And you all get to be their mentors and their coaches along the way. And you're starting that, it's easy to do when you're with one of the largest mortgage brokerages in the entire country, and you have, I'm guessing, 10,000 originators to choose from, but to offer your partnership with. But you're not stopping there, right? Exactly. Like you will make it available to the TLOP audience?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep. So you don't have to necessarily work at Barrett.
Correct.
To have access to you and Bill. It definitely helps for those that are already there, but you and Bill have much bigger plans. In fact, you're telling me you may even one day stretch outside of mortgage, because you're looking at this saying, why aren't more service professionals doing something similar? It could be life insurance sales, it could be homeowners insurance, but right now, what you and Bill know is mortgage, and what you know extremely well is mortgage, and you're doing it at Barrett. What So I want to find a way to put a bow on this. I want to find a way to wrap it up. At the same time, tease how people can get a hold of you specifically, or you and Bill. But I also want to give the audience something. Yeah. So if you were to tell someone, here are 4 things to do to start live streaming on TikTok, what would they be?
Absolutely. That's a fantastic question. So I guess to give a little background to that, right, as far as what Bill and I are even coaching towards and doing, right, really is what we call our certification course, right? So that's, again, for somebody who's never opened up TikTok before, or has maybe dabbled in TikTok, or you just enjoy TikTok in general and just like to scroll, right? It doesn't matter where you start, right? We basically take loan officers from inception of download TikTok all the way up through a certification process to where they feel comfortable and ready and able to effectively hold an hour-long live stream daily, where they can expect 3 to 5 leads in that time frame, closing at a minimum 4 loans plus a month.
Okay.
Right. So with that, I mean, the initial things to do would be to just obviously download TikTok.
Okay.
Right?
Step 1.
Get
TikTok.
Get out there, right?
Yeah.
Be able to just look into it and find a place where, that calls your name, right? Look at it and just find in the industry how the mortgage space is very small, actually. So that's one thing to just keep note of. But go out there and just look at other loan officers, right? You can go check out my account, Bill's account, and others where they're doing this regularly, right? And that's the great thing about TikTok in general as well, is that everything is on public display. Anytime I'm on live, anybody can come in and hop in and watch me and critique me and do whatever they want, right? But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's like, if I'm live, they can come in and see me, right? Ultimately, from there, I would just, again, the second thing would just be follow other loan officers, follow other people in the industry, realtors, look up those different hashtags and those different keywords, such as like first-time home buyers and things like that. From there, this is a shameless plug, right? I would definitely get in touch with somebody like Bill and I, right?
Yeah.
Where we are coaching this, and we have an external program for loan officers that, like, if you're not wanting to join Barrett, right? Obviously there's always that segue, and we'd love to have you. But to that point, like, if you're on the outside and you're like, I need to learn this, I want to learn this, I want to become a true self-producer, right? Then get in touch with us, because from there we have a full, kind of fast-track certification course for those outside loan officers that are wanting to do the same thing, right? And then ultimately, again, just stay in touch, because we're here, we're available, and more than happy to help answer any questions in the meantime.
If you're a licensed originator who's closing loans, but you're not consistent, this is for you. If you're brand new or just looking for motivation, trust me, this is not for you. Most LOs don't need more information. They need structure. They need proven processes and somebody to hold them accountable. TLOP's Originator Coaching gives you weekly live coaching, scripts top producers actually use, and step-by-step business systems you can implement immediately. Not someday, we're talking day one. You're not watching videos alone. You're executing in real time with other originators who take this seriously. Right now, you can try it free for 2 weeks. That's 2 full weeks for free. You'll sit in on live coaching calls. You'll get access to the frameworks and see exactly how top producers run their business. If it creates clarity, if it creates momentum, or even if it puts wins on the board, you keep going. If it doesn't, no worries, you can cancel. No pressure at all. Click the link, start the 2-week trial, and finally, build this like a business, not a side hustle.
Now you niche down, and I said earlier, I've learned that from marketing and advertising that it pays to niche. And I think the example I was going to give to the audience was I learned when doing virtual home buying workshops that instead of trying to do all home buyers, I market and advertise just investors 1 week. I market and advertise just first-time home buyers 1 week. I market and advertise just people who are looking to buy their next house before they sell their current house 1 week.
Right.
Now, that wasn't what made sense to me. What made sense to me is throw the widest net, get the most people. But I learned the algorithm and the cost per lead works way better when I get very specific. It's not that I can't coach and teach all 5 different ways to buy a home. It's just I had to break it up week by week. I did something different. So that's what I'm doing, usually via Meta and for my home buying workshops. But when you're doing TikTok, do you suggest and coach that you got to pick a niche? And whether it's renovation lending, whether it's divorce lending, whether it's DSCR, bank statement loans, first-time home buyer, or could someone say, I'm just a home buying expert and I'm going to talk an hour a day about buying a home, regardless if it's your first home, second home, investment property, short-term rental, etc. What are you all finding out there?
No, I love that question. I want to address it in a couple different ways.
Yeah.
Because first things first, if you remember what I said earlier about posting, it's the lottery, right?
Okay.
The thing about TikTok Live is that it is predictable, right? If you do A, B, and C, D, E, and F will happen every single time, right? If you train your algorithms, you do what you got to do, and you get on live and you're consistent, as we discussed earlier as well, you can expect a crowd, right? That's just what TikTok does, right? They give you a crowd when you have things built out correctly. To that next point, I would say that the niche specifically isn't as important as one might think, right? Oh, Luke, you do VA. And we get this question a lot when it comes to our trainings, right? And with our course, they're like, well, Luke, you're in VA. Should I just niche down to one thing? And our answer is not necessarily, right? Because your niche very well may be mortgage information, right? I would say let live stream be your niche, right? Make it a little bit more broad, because to further that point, I didn't reach out to him to ask for permission to share his name and story, but we had somebody that we had coached and trained, and he is on every single day at the exact same time, and his whole show is mortgage.
That's it.
Mortgage.
Yeah.
I went on his live this morning. He had 24 people in the room, questions flowing in, and he was directing those people again to his website to book a call, all those different things. So is a specific niche necessary? Absolutely not, right? I would say if you can train your algorithm to know mortgage and know that that's where you want your content to be delivered to and those individuals, that's the niche.
Awesome. If people want to get a hold of you, how do they get a hold of you, Luke?
Absolutely. So I'm on TikTok at VA Loans with Luke. That's my handle. Just look at VA Loans with Luke. Or you can reach Bill and I at live streaming at barrettfinancial.com.
Live streaming at barrettfinancial.com.
Correct.
And Barrett Financial has 2 R's and 2 T's. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah, Barrett's always one of those difficult names to actually spell.
Yes.
That one in Caribbean. Like the number of times I've had to write Caribbean for our Caribbean Takeover event, and I've learned that it does not have 2 R's. It has 1 R and 2 B's. But I would like to spell Caribbean sometimes with 2 R's and 2 B's. Barrett was always one of those. You know what? Maybe when we're at lunch, I've been trying to break into Barrett. I've been trying to break into Barrett because I coach at least, I have 1 or 2 Barrett people inside of my launch boot camp every 6 weeks. And I'm thinking, if I have this many Barrett people reaching out wanting to go through our boot camp, I could probably offer some enterprise pricing to make it a little bit more financially beneficial for all of your friends and coworkers over at Barrett. So maybe I'll hit you up for one of those intros to Trevor or something. I'll have to find a way to earn that with you, Luke. But y'all, his name is Luke Walker. He is at Barrett Financial. He is VA Home Loans with Luke.
VA Loans with Luke.
Oh, VA Loans with Luke on TikTok. Yeah, that's a big time tongue twister. Luke, I'm so appreciative of you driving the 2 hours down from St. Augustine to come in the studio to share your story, share your knowledge with the group. Y'all, if you're not already on TikTok, get on TikTok. And then secondly, if you're truly serious about adding live streaming to your marketing strategy, it's just like anything. Don't go at it alone. Hire an expert, shorten your learning curve, increase your probability of success, right? That's what I do at T-Lop Coaching. It's what Luke and Bill are doing with their live stream division. And you don't have to work at Barrett to have access to Luke and Bill and all of their secrets. Like they have a product, they have a service that if you're serious enough, you can hire them, you can pay them, and they will teach you exactly what Luke has been doing, what Bill's been doing, what others have been doing so successfully in our industry. And you too can be a part of the revolution. But for now, we're going to have to bounce. If this was your first time tuning in to T-Lop, I say thank you. Make sure you are subscribed on YouTube. YouTube is a phenomenal platform for us. It's not just a place where you can watch the podcast, but we have free coaching videos, free sales training videos, tons of additional content. Go to T-Lop Entertainment on YouTube, click subscribe. Make sure you blow up the comments. If there's something that you like that we said, let us hear it. If there's something you disagree with, guess what? Let us hear it. And if you're really bored this summer, come hang out with us in the Bahamas, T-Lop Unite 2026. All the information you'd ever want to find about us or that event is on our website, tloponline.com. That's TLOP online.com. He's Luke Walker. I'm Dustin Owen. You've just tuned in to the Lone Officer Podcast. That's all the time we have for you today, but we look forward to catching you on the next episode. Peace.